Happy Sunday, everybody, and we bring the Showcase Sundays with AJ Lake's consultancy and training to help the hospitality and tourism industry thrive at this current time. And this week we have got the amazing Kathryne Benson. Now, I met Kathryne Benson last year with regard to P4 technology, and I tweeted and I sent all the documentation down to government and the powers that be in London. And this week I'm very, very blessed and very grateful to be interviewing Kathryne Benson from P4 Technology, which is a game changer at this current time, especially through the pandemic. So Kathryne, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi Alison, many thanks for having me on Showcase Sunday. It's Kathryne Benson from P4 Technology Limited. We are a company that came together in the darkest days of the pandemic last year, around July, August time. And we were a bunch of business owners, entrepreneurs, call us what you will. And we thought that there had to be a way out of this pandemic. There had to be a different route to the official channels that were being taken. Because we were standing by and we were watching people dying, we were watching people being isolated from their family and friends, loved ones, elderly people being left in institutions alone, frightened, scared, as well as in ill health. And we looked at how the economy was crumbling because businesses were having to be shut down. And having grown up in a small business retail outlet on the high street, I knew that that is a route that people's lives were being crushed by, let alone trying to run a business while trying to either care for elderly relatives, bring up children, or indeed support people that through what was happening were now having mental health issues. So we got together, and some of the specialist work that I do sits in and around the research and development arena, and I'd come across a couple of companies who I'd recently worked with, and suddenly the light went on and realised that if we put those companies together, we could provide a 4-level protection that would stop COVID-19 in its tracks, would stop the transmission, would stop the potential of people getting it. It would allow us to reopen our economy safely and quickly, and it would then obviously stop people losing their jobs, their businesses, their livelihoods while staying safe. The 4-level is very simple. It started with a way of identifying the easy targets, so people carrying a temperature with a camera. Those people then were excluded from entering that building. They then, for those that didn't display a temperature, which is the connecting factor apparently with every case, that if you didn't display a temperature because perhaps you were just in the really early stages of infection and you got into the building, there was a second layer of protection in the form of a sea gate. A sea gate is very similar to an arch that you would go under in any airport when they're detecting that you're carrying something you shouldn't be. And this sea gate actually sent out fluid, disinfectant fluid. It was on for so long, a light then flashes when it's dispersed enough of the liquid, and it allows you to pass through that arch and into the building. What that actually does is it removes any of the virus from yourself and from anything that you may be carrying, which stops the transmission, not only from person to person, but from building to building. Because people at that time were entering a supermarket, then perhaps going back into an office, and they may have picked that virus up unknowingly in that supermarket through touching something, through actually somebody coughing and sneezing in the air, and those droplets landed on a piece of their clothing. Then they put that on a chair, somebody else touches it, and so on and so on. We then have a third part of the solution, which is the air purification unit. What nobody seemed to be getting the grasp of, particularly last year, was that this virus is airborne and that it travels through the air. It travels through central heating systems, air conditioning, under doors in buildings like care homes and hospitals, which is why it spreads so quickly. And the only way that you can do that is to clean the air that people breathe. The air purification device is an electro-patented foil filtration device, British made, British produced, and has actually been made by a company who actually produce equipment for NASA to put into space. They produce all of the BBC transmitters, and they do work for Ferrari and Porsche, to name but a few. So these are very, very clever people, very, very clever British business owners. And they put together this particular device, which plugs in like an electric heater, costs pennies to run, and there is no installation, no maintenance costs. And actually, you could, for 20p per person, keep a primary school completely safe 365 days of the year by installing one of these devices in each classroom. Now, people say that's maybe a little expensive to begin with, and possibly they may be right, but organisations didn't have to buy out the devices outright. They could actually lease them on a month-to-month basis. But if we think about the money that's paid out in furlough, in sick pay, in health and safety assessments, and all of the other ongoing costs that are being applied during this pandemic, these machines are not expensive at all. But thinking about the bigger picture, maybe it looks a little bit at the outset, but we think how many years they last for, 8 years, how long they actually last, then they're certainly a good investment. And just to have the bells and braces on the back of that, the fourth layer is actually your fogging, your sanitizing liquids, your fogging machines, your desktop demisters, the ones you can put in like a little flask, like a drinking cup in your car, which means if you get somebody else in your car, you can constantly fog. You can leave these demisters on your desk, move them around, the portable, the Wi-Fi. And all they are made of is they're made from hydrochloric acid, electrolyzed water, and salt, but done in a very specific way. What's great about that? Well, no chemicals, can't harm the environment. They're recyclable bottles, so they're good for the environment. They can be suitable for people who are vegan, suitable for people who are of the halal culture, and they're also suitable for children and pets, because there is nothing, even if you drank this liquid, which I'm not suggesting anybody should, but the worst case scenario is they'd be quite sick. They wouldn't be poisoned like a chemical. And hydrochloric acid is the body's own natural healer. So we're only taking what we already have in our body and actually using it to help protect ourselves. So this sanitization liquid, perfectly safe. It has been tested. It has a 99.9 efficacy against all of the virus. I have actually, in the last week, used it within my own home with a COVID case in the house, sprayed the air with it. I've sprayed all our hands with it, furniture, curtains, things like that. And touch wood, 9 days in, we're still negative. So that's been a real sort of personal result, and I've been, lucky enough for that to be the case in my own house.
Wow. And what amazed me about P4 Technology last year when I met you is the amount of accreditation that it's gone through. So this is not something that you gave birth to overnight. And the thing that really shone the big light for me as well, and the beacon of hope, which I was really shocked it wasn't picked up on, is the fact that it is 99.9% effective, which is far more than a lot of other things that are currently being used for COVID. But not just on COVID. What was amazing to me, it was a solution that kills Legionella, it kills Listeria, E. coli, MRSA, Ebola, SARS, and COVID-19. And it's a no-brainer. It's non-toxic, alcohol-free, as you said, pH neutral, hypoallergenic, and non-irritant. So it is absolutely the best thing for our country, isn't it? And it really blew me away when I look at that because there is a lot of people, especially, say parents with school children who, it can happen just like that, a moment's notice. By the way, your bubble is now got to isolate for 10 days as per government guidelines because there's a positive case in class. And do they go on furlough? And currently the hospitality industry is in the highest crisis mode for staffing. We've got the biggest crisis that you could possibly, think of. And if that happens to many school children where we do not have the ability to send them to school, or they have to go into isolation, so all the family does, then unfortunately that's going to cripple businesses even more. And it's a serious thing, this, because I know a lot of people say, well, we've got to be very mindful about COVID, but this is very clear. This is a very clear way of actually cleaning the air, but also monitoring it and seeing it. And I just don't understand why this wasn't picked up last year. Number one, and 20 pence per person in schools. So I look at that in hospitality as well, but 20 pence per person for the year, I would pay that for my child, without even a doubt, and I agree there's been lots of payment of other things, like furlough schemes, grants, trying to keep businesses alive. But if we could have just actually got under the skin of this last year, we'd be in a far better position now. And I think this is what's quite frustrating for me, because I met you, I didn't know you before I was introduced to you. When I saw this, I just thought this was a no-brainer, and nobody seemed to want to pick it up. And I thought, what on earth are we doing? So it's obviously, I know what's unique and different about P4 technology, because I have done my research. I've looked at different fogging machines, I've looked at different, and they come with all shapes and sizes, with all different products in. But this was the one that I would have suggested was, or ticked all the boxes for all viruses rather than just COVID. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And the thing is, we are going to get viruses, we're going to get pandemics. It's the world that we're living in. We have to be prepared for all of them, because when this one leaves, the amount of lockdowns, isolations, the less people have mixed and communicated with others, in actual fact, the weaker their immune system will be. It's a little bit like when we were young parents and we had our first child at primary school, and we sent them back to school in September, and we wondered why on earth they came back with head lice 2 or 3 weeks in. But they did, because suddenly it was all that coming together of individuals who'd not been together for and it's the same principle. So we have to be prepared that, as we come out of lockdown, cases are going to rise because our immune systems are not where they were before.
And I said last year, we've got to learn to live with this virus like we do with everything else, whether we like it or not. We've got to build our immune systems. I know my dad constantly said when we were younger, a 5-second rule on the floor and eat it, and he's done the same with his grandchildren. So my children and my family's children, he's always said they need a bit of muck in the bodies to build our immune system. And I get it, and yet we've all been wearing masks, so we've been free radicals, and now we're in a position where a common cold could actually seriously harm us if we're not really careful. So we do have to live with this virus. I totally agree. And Kath, what would you say for the hospitality industry? Because we've touched on schools. I know you've used this in other countries. I know you've used it in mosques in this country, and it has proven very, very, negative COVID cases because of it.
So we originally placed, we gave a gift of a whole system to a mosque in Bradford, because some of our business colleagues were connected to that particular mosque, and we put in on the 10th of August last year, we put in a whole system, so the whole 4 layers. That was at the very height of the pandemic in that particular area. and we have not had one reported case from that mosque. Those are people whose culture say that they pray feet to feet, shoulder to shoulder, so they do not social distance. Some were wearing masks in those prayer meetings, some weren't. That was maybe people that were ineligible to wear them, but there were no further cases. There were MPs present at that presentation that day that was installed. There were members of Parliament made aware of it. Public Health England was made aware of it, and we have not had any further communication with any of those groups of people since that day.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want to get into politics, but Public Health England accredited this system, so it's not something, and you can see all the reports on your website, which we'll mention later.
Just Alison, to make, to be clear on that, Public Health England actually didn't accredit the whole system as a system. They accredited the air purification through their lab at Porton Down, which is the government's biochemical investigation unit. The sanitisation side of it carry their own accreditations that are all done to the BS standard and the EN standard. And we have had a lot of success in other countries. Other countries seem to have taken this on board in the Middle East, Singapore, far quicker than we have. And as a result of that, at the moment, we actually can't provide any further air purification units because there is now a shortage of the component part needed to pull it all together. So we are currently completely out of stock of that part. But the other three layers of the solution still seem to be providing a very effective cover.
Brilliant, brilliant. And this is the thing, isn't it? We just need to get on board with it. And the other three layers will still provide the protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And can I ask, what would be your 5 top tips for the hospitality industry?
So for the hospitality industry, I would recommend to invest in some tabletop demisters, to spray your rooms maybe, I don't know, every few hours, as I've done this week. There is no downtime. You can actually spray around people. They may not actually want to be sprayed around, but you could technically spray around people. You don't have to have a downtime of not being able to use that room for an hour or so. You can literally spray around. It takes you under 5 minutes and you could open the door and go back in. So there's no, and that is the difference between using a chemical and not using a chemical. If the person that is using your disinfectant spray has to wear a hazmat suit or tells you have to close your room for an hour afterwards, regardless of what they tell you, there is some chemicals in there that are not good for humans. Wow. This is very, very natural ingredients. Very natural. It's literally like going and dipping yourself in the sea.
Yeah, but healthier. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And other top tips, because we've got that you potentially, well, you could do it at all times, couldn't you? You can demystify it all. Yeah,
we could. And we actually now can offer hospitality skills industry. We can now actually offer them the opportunity to buy an IBM.
What's
and literally, it's like a big square tank where they can just refill their bottles as they run out, which makes it a more cost-effective option. So now, instead of a small bottle of hand sanitizer costing, as you see on the website, £3.69, you can actually get a refill for about £12, and it'll do it over 100 times.
Wow!
So it actually now takes it down to about 20p.
So it's very cost-effective.
Yes.
So no brainer with it all ticking all the boxes. And they can use it. The beauty is, as well, as it saves time. That's the big key thing right now for the industry, is time it's always been precious, but it's got even more precious right now. And I think, the training, there doesn't need to be any training, does there?
No. We will come in and fog the rooms for you for the first time if you want to see how to do it, if you're unsure, because I think one thing we have noticed is that when we put them out to places, people are a little unsure at first. Have I done it right? It hasn't took very long. Should I not go around and do it again? that's a natural reaction because it is so quick, so simple. And one of the other things I would mention that is on the back of our bottles now is that we do donate a percentage of what every bottle that's sold to the Think Mental Health charity. So we are conscious about people's mental health.
Wow, that is amazing, absolutely amazing. And I think you touched on it there, that you obviously will come and show the clients how to use it. But I think the other element, and I get asked this a lot for hospitality, if they spent thousands of pounds on refurbishment, which a lot of businesses did, you know, during lockdown, it was a chance to refurbish, you know, titivate rooms and so on. Will it affect any furnishings, any furniture?
No, we have a special one. It's the fabric and furnish one. It's the same stuff that's in it. And you can literally spray your curtains, spray your three-piece suite. It doesn't mark. I can vouch for that definitely this week, because my three-piece suite has been sprayed more times than anything else this week. It doesn't leave a stain. It doesn't leave a smell.
Wow, it's crazy, isn't it? And
and I will actually make a pledge to the hospitality industry that we will give them a 20% discount of any orders that they purchase.
Wow, thank you, Kath. And Kathryne, can I ask you, will they have to use a code, or do they contact you direct?
They can either contact me direct, or we can put together an industry code for them.
That would be great, which we can put on the link at the end as well. Yeah,
because we've done that for care homes, so we're quite happy to do it for hospitality.
Wow, and this could be used in hospitals, care homes, schools, hospitality, factories, anywhere, retail, the whole lot. We could be living like a normal life with this product.
There is no reason that we actually can't go back to normal. It's just about organising the resources that we have that are relatively cost effective and inexpensive, and just making sure everybody's aware of what it can and can't do.
Wow. So if somebody, you know, you've got examples, we've gone through the examples of who's used this. You've got people in Singapore, in the Middle East, you know, that have taken this up and actually used it and effectively done very well out of it. And, you know, we've had the mosque that's used it with no COVID cases. And so we've got a real clear that this is the go-to thing to use. And I think you know, if someone was sat on the fence now saying, wow, this sounds great, and obviously I'll go and have a look at the website, etc. What would your clients currently and your past clients say, you know, to anybody sat on the fence thinking about it?
I think they would say, give it a try. What have you got to lose? You know, we've got the solution. It's affordable, and you know, better than that, it's actually all British businesses we're supporting as well as helping ourselves. So we're helping ourselves to help each other.
Wow. And I think the other element, I mean, what a PR and marketing campaign that would be, that you've got something. If I had a hotel and I had this installed, I could say you could come and enjoy a great stay here without your mask, without worrying that you're going to contract COVID or SARS or norovirus or listeria or any other disease, because we have got it covered. How amazing would that be? I mean, it would be inundated, would it not?
It would. And actually, if you just watch this space, we are looking at how to put it into the air conditioning and the heating systems and the water treatment.
Whoa.
That's under development currently.
So it's one
that then really is. That's the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Goodness me, a no-brainer. So of course. So how do we get in touch? How would you, Kathryne, how would you recommend that anybody who wants to get in touch with you to talk further, obviously, but also to get in touch to?
Okay, so I will give you my personal mobile number. I'm happy to take calls about this at any time of day or night. If my phone rings, I'll pick it up. So that's 07 486 506 801, or you can contact me at p4technology.co.uk.
Wow. And obviously, when we say day and night, we're not expecting 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just letting the hospitality industry
If you ring,
know that.
I'll answer.
I don't want you to be inundated in the middle of the night, Kathryne.
No, it's fine. I work with a lot of clients from America who forget what time it is.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, I'm very blessed to have the USA clients, but I totally know where you're coming from. So we'll put the links at the end of this interview, obviously. And is there anything else you want to add? Because I just think, you know, its effectiveness against airborne diseases. You know, we've mentioned earlier what it is. It's non-toxic, it's accredited, it's got so many accreditations, and it's all on the website, which is
www.p4technology.co.uk. I would just say, you know, help us help each other.
Yeah, thank you. And also that you donate into mental health charities.
We donate a percentage of every purchase to the Think Mental Health charity.
Brilliant. And it would stop all these people who are still struggling with fear and anxiety right now on furlough, frightened of coming back into work. You know, they've been away currently, you know, for a number of months now, well, near enough 18 months now.
And the other thing I would say, that if anybody has lost their job and they're looking for something they can do on a self-employed basis, we're more than happy to set them up with kit and have them as self-employed salespeople. So there is an opportunity there for anybody that's struggling for employment.
That is amazing. Wow. And can they contact you as well, Kathryne?
Absolutely.
Wow, fantastic. So there's business opportunities as well.
Yes, absolutely. We need to get the message out there even more than we have already.
Fantastic. And obviously all your social media, you've not got, you know, a social media presence. You have got social media presence, but you've not got an active presence. However,
not really at the moment.
If everybody can like and share that as well, but we need to get the message out there. We need to get people getting back to as normal a life as possible, and this is a no-brainer, to say the least. I know some people who have already got it. So, with a hotelier was speaking to about a month ago, he said he was going for a massage and didn't have to wear a mask because he got this installed. They'd got this installed, and I thought, yes, brilliant. He was absolutely over the moon, and was looking to actually purchase it himself. So it's a no-brainer. If you haven't already, go and check out the website. p4technology.co.uk. We will put all the links at the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Kathryne. You've been an absolute pleasure, and what an amazing insight into what potentially, well, what will, with 99.9% effectiveness, help us get back to normal, as normal as we can be. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Happy Showcase Sunday. Happy Sunday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.